The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shades thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Yeah, that's right. Good morning, you guys. It is Wednesday, September 11th, and today is National Hot Cross Bun Day. That's not referring to all the women at the beach, you guys, okay? Just so you know.
No, it's the song we played on recorder in 5th grade. Da, da, da.
When is National Hot Spread Buns Day?
I don't know. It's also National Make Your Bed Day, Rico. It's Patriot Day and the National Day of Service and Remembrance for 9/11. So we do want to take a brief moment of silence for all those that passed during the tragedy of 9/11. And thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above or down below on your screen to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. But kicking it off first, that's right. It's the black on black attack from the dope dad himself, who just happens to be matching all day today. I've got black on, you got black on. He's just rocking it out today. This is the dope dad himself, Rico Lamitte.
Rico was worried where that was going.
I'm not going to take the bait, Jason. I know exactly where that was going.
Where was it going, Rico? Where was it going?
Why don't you tell me, Jason?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. You just have this little crystal ball or whatever you're talking about.
I'm just saying. It's like like you were telling me exactly where the debate was going last night, but I won't go there. But we'll talk a little bit about that.
I know where the debate went.
There was a whole lot of hype going into last night's debate, and a lot of things were said on the stage by both 2024 presidential candidates last night. And when the dust cleared, one thing was certain. Despite the hype leading in, neither Vice President Kamala Harris nor former President Donald Trump thought that cannabis was important enough to be mentioned. Can I get a sad trombone on that one?
Well, hold on. I blame ABC. I actually blame ABC. I actually blame ABC because they were controlling all the questions.
Yeah, man. You guys are all about excuses these days and blaming other people.
Blaming ABC, bro. Blaming ABC.
I'm about pointing thumbs and not fingers. Because when you point a thumb, you know what? You're pointing at yourself. If you're pointing a finger, there's 4 more pointing back at you. I ain't about that shit.
Oh boy. Here we go.
So, but I digress. This leaves us and current President Joe Biden as the only candidate from either party to ever openly support reform on cannabis policies while facing an opponent on that stage. With 54 days left until the election, whatever happens within the next administration and their policies that they put forward are in the air. So the clock's ticking on old Joe to actually do something, not just say he did something, but actually do something. something positive for the people negatively affected by the failed, illegal, and racist war on drugs that he was so instrumental in waging and building up upon American citizens for decades. So who's going to get him off the beach, out the bed, or wherever he is, and get him going? According to Benzinga's Frank Cornetti, the Last Prisoner Project's using their platform to do just that. Benzinga staff writer wrote last night that a coalition of cannabis advocates is ramping up the pressure on President Joe Biden to act on his promise of cannabis justice. On Tuesday, the Last Prisoner Project and several partner organizations announced the Countdown for Clemency campaign, urging Biden to grant clemency to nearly 3,000 individuals still incarcerated for federal marijuana offenses, as first reported by Marijuana Moment. Despite Biden's past efforts, which included pardoning thousands of people with federal cannabis possession convictions, no one, I repeat, no one has been released from prison as a result. The new campaign is pushing the president to use his clemency powers to right this wrong. Time is running out on President Biden's term, but it is not too late for him to undo the harms inflicted on the families impacted by cannabis criminalization, said Sarah Gersten, executive director of LPP. Horani said that the campaign's website features a large countdown clock symbolizing the dwindling time before Biden's term ends. And while Biden's pardons have helped people clear their records, the administration has not commuted the sentences of those still behind bars for cannabis-related offenses. Do not believe the hype. It's not a partisan issue. It's just not getting done. Recent polls show that Americans overwhelmingly support clemency for those incarcerated for marijuana offenses now legal in many states. 84% of voters support releasing people serving time for cannabis crimes, while 72% approve of Biden's previous pardons for nonviolent possession convictions. The campaign for clemency has gained momentum in Congress, where 36 lawmakers wrote to Biden in March, urging him to commute the sentences of nonviolent cannabis offenders. Biden, however, has maintained a cautious stance. At a Wisconsin campaign stop earlier this year, he expressed support for rescheduling marijuana, but drew a distinction between users and dealers. If you're selling it, if you're outgrowing, it's a different deal. There's no deal, so stop saying it's different. Anyways, with the 2024 election approaching, the administration appears aware of the growing public demand for cannabis reform. Both Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris have emphasized their efforts to address the issue, including a carefully timed announcement on April 20th, a significant date in cannabis culture. Again, the posturing, the bullshit, the gaslighting continues. Harris has also publicly called on the DEA to speed up its review of the reclassification under federal law. With only months left in Biden's presidency, the clock is ticking for thousands of individuals still serving time for cannabis offenses. All right, so let me handle this. All right. 54 days till election, 131 days till old Joe got to get his ass off the sticks. Props to LPP for putting their justice behind the Countdown to Clemency campaign and sharing their platform with others to amplify the message. I do wish, however, that they would have used this opportunity to draw more attention to the other lesser-known regional and local warriors for justice that they have partnered with, especially given the drama tied with to the organization right out the gate when they were first getting started. But this is a good thing nonetheless. And if nothing at all today, please head over to cannabisclemency.org and sign the damn petition. If you don't want to draft your own letter in the allotted section that they have there, it'll take you literally less than 30 seconds to get it done. Sacrificing 30 seconds is nothing compared to the years and decades unfairly given to the remaining war on drugs, prisoners of war, the POWs that are still behind bars while we are out here making money off the plant. So let's get these people home. I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on street for High at 9 News. Let's talk about it.
Man, I tell you what, I don't think anything is going to happen with this. I think the only person who's going to get a pardon is going to be Hunter Biden.
How about we keep it on this, man? How about we keep it on this, man?
Like, that was. I was saying I don't think he's gonna act. I don't think he's gonna do anything.
That seemed like a shot. It seemed like a shot. I mean, like, I'd love to see him come through with his promises, but I mean, what have we seen so far? He's asleep. He doesn't remember to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And the most important thing is, if you guys out there who are free, going about your happy ass days, petting your dogs, seeing your children, can't take 30 minutes out of your day to go sign this petition, then I'm looking at you, point a thumb that way, because that is the problem. I think the best we could do is hold people accountable.
Do you think?
Exactly. 30 seconds. I've been complaining for 30 seconds already this morning, so you guys can do it.
Do you think the petition's really going to get anything done?
I mean, like, listen, we sign letters every time I go to an event. I take Freedom Grows petitions with me. I have those signed at my booth. I mean, like, we're doing what we can, right? And the best thing that you can do is to keep your foot on the gas pedal and try to ram it up these politicians' bottoms as hard as you can until maybe they get sick of seeing it or want to leave something positive of their legacy. And at this administration, you'd think they'd want one win, right? Where the people are like, hey, he did something for us. So, I don't know, but we're going to do them. We're going to write them, and hopefully that'll bring attention to the people who deserve justice.
Look at that, Rico. Jenny bought a filter.
I don't see any appetite in Washington to do anything about cannabis, period.
None.
It's not an issue that's resonating in these debates or in the discussions going on across the country to get these swing state voters. So I don't see, it's not going to change the attitude of these undecided voters right now, and that's where they all got to focus. And Congress has got their thumb up their ass. So I just don't see it happening. And Biden, I mean, if you can wake him up enough to ask him what he thinks, he orchestrated a goddamn war on drugs and the minimum mandatories and the Clinton crime bill. And so I don't see him wanting to back off of that because his mama told him weed was bad. And, you know, that's the problem we have. Policymakers, when their mama tells them weed is bad, my mama must be right, despite all the facts being shoved in their face.
Not to mention too, Dale, back in the 80s, President Biden was working on some legislation with a co-sponsor by the name of Strom Thurmond that would have created a whole new kind of drug agency that they were really trying to push back in the 80s, and fortunately that was killed.
I mean, I'm just trying to keep it positive right now, and just be like, yo, like it's the least, like echoing Jenny Beth's words, it's the least you all can do. Sign the petition and amplify.
I'm down to sign the petition. I'm totally down to encourage people to do that. I just have a question of, I wonder what good it'll do. I'm not opposed to signing it. I'm not opposed to promoting it or anything like that. These are real questions.
But I think saying like, I don't think that this is actually going to work. Do you think they actually read it is unintentionally discouraging, right? Because like, yeah, I'll go out and try something, but if we're sitting there and saying, well, it's not going to work anyway. It's not going to work anyway. Do it anyhow.
I'm still participating, even if I don't think it's going to do anything. I still think it's good.
I restrained myself. As much as I could reading the story. I'm like, yo, this is not about red or blue. This is not about anything other than these folks trying to do some positive shit. And let's get on it. That's all I'm saying. It's not about us. It's about the folks that are still locked up right now while we're out here on the internet talking our shit.
That's fair enough.
Let's get them on the show and talk their shit with us, just like we got Luke out to talk his shit on the show too. We need more of these former POWs. Shout out to my man Dale Schafer on here with us. He is free. He did years for the shit that we're doing freely right now. So let's get more of them out so we can have fun with them too. That's all I'm saying.
Give me a pardon. Let's do a petition for that.
I'm down with that too, Dale. I'm 100% down with that. 100%. I
want my guns back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I want you to get your guns back too.
Dale, you qualify for Justice Serves initiatives too, so we can definitely see as we raise the money if we can throw some towards the pardon for Dale.
And let me know. I'll scream from the rafters. We need to stop this shit. There's so many of us that are carrying baggage around from doing stuff that today people are making money from and legally. We need to wipe that off of people's records, because I carry a felony with me. Not that it upsets me as much as it does other people, because I still have my law license. But, you know, there are a lot of downsides to being tagged with a felony today. And it just needs to be wiped off, because none of us were trying to go out and rob, cheat, steal, lie to people. We're trying to help people that were sick. And in my case, Molly had cancer, for God's sakes. You know, it's mind-boggling that the way they wrap you up in this and then just leave you dangling out there. We'll help someone who got possession. The feds weren't after people with fucking possession problems. They were after people manufacturing, distributing, importing. And I served in prison with lots of these folks. And I'd let them watch my grandchildren. Okay, they're not bad human beings. They were, in the drug game and in the marijuana game, which is not the same as heroin and fentanyl and meth and cocaine. It's just not. We need to wipe this period of our history off. But I don't see any momentum right now actually get anything done. Anything they say is just words. They're blowing smoke up your ass right now.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I think,
Go ahead, Jenny.
And I think that the petitions do sometimes work. I mean, like we take pictures also of people who are currently in prison, and Christian Reichert out of Illinois is an amazing example. In February, I held his picture up in front of the booth in Hawaii. By May, he was free by the time I went to go speak in Illinois. So that was really awesome, getting to know his mom, getting to know his family and his story. And it takes a village, you guys. Like, we all have to speak for these people, because at the end of the day, if you're wearing a prison jumpsuit, your words fall deaf on people's ears. So we need people that are free and people who are able to speak for them, to speak for the people who helped pave the way for this industry to even exist. And we all know that the government only put them in prison because they were mad because they weren't getting their cut from it. So,
that part.
Fair enough.
That part.
And on that, we're going to go to a commercial, and we're going to be right back.
The Control Tower from Highly Educated has perfected the dab. Utilizing the concept of thin film evaporation, you can waste none of it and taste all of it. The micro texture of the SE pillar increases nucleation at elevated temperatures. And with the tower propelling at 2,600 RPMs, it's certainly the most efficient dab experience to date. The Control Tower from Highly Educated.
And we are back. Up next, y'all know who it is. High at 9 News' head honcho, known for smoking the best weed in the world, the highest Republican in every room, the party and partisan himself, Mr.
That's good. That's good, Rico. I'm not the party and partisan. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny today. I have a follow-up story from Jenny Beth's story yesterday, you guys. I think you are gonna love this one, because Shannon O'Brien plans to appeal the Cannabis Control Commission's firing to Massachusetts Supreme Court. You guys, that's right. We need right. She's about to get litty over here, because Shannon O'Brien plans to appeal her firing as the chairwoman of the Cannabis Control Commission directly to the Supreme Judicial Court of Massachusetts, her lawyer said on Tuesday. And one of her former CCC colleagues will take over as acting chair in the meantime. Treasurer Deborah Goldberg fired O'Brien on Monday, citing unspecified gross misconduct. And on Tuesday, she announced that she had chosen Commissioner Bruce Stebbins to serve as acting chair of the CCC until a more permanent chairperson can be hired. The treasurer said the former gaming regulator, business development official, city councilor, and White House aide will ensure stability during this period and will continue to positively impact the important mission of the CCC. Meanwhile, O'Brien and her legal team are preparing to appeal Goldberg's decision to the SJC. William Gadia, one of O'Brien's lawyers from Todd and Weld, said state law gives O'Brien the option to go either to the Supreme Court or to the SJC based on prior cases with generally similar facts about removing high-level officials. That went directly to the SJC, like the case of the fired Turnpike Authority board members in the early 2000s. That would be the plan, Golda told the news service. O'Brien's appeal could focus on Goldberg's grounds for the chairwoman's removal and the rationale behind the decision. It could also touch upon the procedures that Goldberg followed to arrive at the firing, which O'Brien's lawyer said were, designed to reach a preordained outcome without supporting facts and without procedures, which might have allowed fair consideration of any other conclusion. A Superior Court judge late last year blessed a protocol that was used for the private hearings between Goldberg and O'Brien in this spring and summer, but specifically noted that she made no determination as to O'Brien's claims that the reasons Goldberg was given for her suspension and potential firing, in quotes, do not raise to the cause standard contained in the statute, but reflect mere policy disagreements or disputes over personal management management or other operational matters. This is total gaslighting, you guys, but whatever. It is not entirely clear what the rationale behind Goldberg's decision to fire O'Brien is, and the treasurer did not provide specific examples of O'Brien's alleged misconduct or inability to discharge her duties as chair of the CCC in her statement on the firing on Monday evening, and her office has declined to provide a copy of any letter, notice, or report outlining the rationale for the axing. Goldberg sent O'Brien an updated notice of the allegations against her in March ahead of the start of the private hearings that were necessary to fire a commissioner, identifying 4 instances of conduct in which you're engaged that may warrant your removal, in quotes. The letter cited the findings of 2 investigative reports and alleged that O'Brien did the following, you guys. 1, made rude and disrespectful comments, remarks, statements, and presumptions to commission staff and colleagues that were perceived to be race-based or, at a minimum, to be racially, ethnically, and culturally insensitive. 2, made comments about the parental leave of the commissioner's executive director that deprived him of assurances that he could exercise his rights to take additional job-protected parental leave, and those statements combined with other conduct described in the second report created a hostile work environment. 3, communicated with and about the commission's executive director in a threatening, abusive, or humiliating manner that, in combination with the totality of behavior described in the second report, constituted bullying. And 4, was evasive and not credible in some of your communications with the investigations, including during a meeting at which your counsel was present. The complaints related to insensitive comments started with cross complaints filed by O'Brien and the CCC Chief Communications Officer, Cedric Sinclair, that, in quotes, says that each was subjected to harassment, bullying, and discrimination treatment, among other contentations by the other individual. According to a copy of the report prepared by the outside investigator who looked into the matter for the CCC, while the investigation was ongoing, Commissioner Nuri's Camargo and agency staffers also filed complaints that, in quotes, raised similar concerns, the report said. That report concluded that neither O'Brien nor Sinclair had been bullied by the other, but that O'Brien repeatedly made inappropriate remarks regarding the professional work relationship between Commissioner Camargo and the Chief Communications Officer. That investigator also deemed credible Camargo's allegation that O'Brien suggested she knew Senator Linda Edwards based on an assumption motivated by racial bias, assuming all people of color know one another, you guys, is what they're trying to say in regards with that. Well, I'm not sure how this is going to pan out. This is definitely interesting. It doesn't sound like they really had the gumption to really fire this woman, but at the same time, she drove the organization into receivership, so I think she totally should be fired and should get no pay or anything like that. But nonetheless, I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
Go ahead.
I got a quick legal question for you, Dale, on this, because I was doing some research because I was going to come at Jason on a side note with Trump and all these appeals, because he almost always drops his appeals. He announces that he's going to appeal all this shit, and he ends up dropping a lot of these appeals because it leads to disclosure. Would she have to, and it would lead to revealing all this other shit about him that he does not want out in the public. Is she in the same position in this case? If she goes through with the appeal, we're going to hear like all this other stuff disclosed about her?
Well, I would suspect that, she's in jeopardy of having that disclosed. Mm-hmm. And when I heard that this was a secret hearing, or whatever term they're trying to use,
right?
Yeah. I mean, due process requires notice and an opportunity to be heard. So you get to go there with your attorneys and make your case. But I do arbitrations, and arbitrations are secret hearings. You don't get to hear that. But when you take the arbitration or these secret hearings out into the real court system, now these documents become subject to public view. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what she really wants to do, because she doesn't like having her pants pulled down and maybe she shouldn't go out there and expose herself to someone who's going to pull her pants down.
Bars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder, especially in a place like Massachusetts, if there isn't more dirt below the surface and they're using these, kind of surface level. And to be clear, I'm not minimizing, using racist rhetoric in the office by any means. But when I saw the headline here, I was really expecting there to be some heavier allegations rooted in, maybe in corruption, some backroom dealings.
Yeah.
This seems like. Again, not to minimize racism, but for what it could have been coming out of specifically the Cannabis Control Commission in Massachusetts, where they've had serious issues with their license issuing processes in the past, this seems kind of benign. That being said, I guess we'll see what happens, and maybe they were using these excuses so they don't reveal that there is wider issues that would bring into question the practices of the commission as a whole and everybody that works there, including potentially her, whoever is replacing her at this point.
So two things, and one is a question for Dale. The other is a statement. So I'll get my statement out of the way. Listen, the old lady is upset that she lost her job. She is in charge of an agency that regulates a social equity program, and she's calling people yellow people. Right. Like that just shows to me that you're so far out of touch with what is acceptable and basic human decency that you shouldn't be in control of any agency. And also on the appeals portion, I thought that when you're appealing a decision like this, you weren't able to bring up new evidence that wasn't brought in, or new arguments that weren't brought in on the initial case, right? Or are you able to then introduce? Because I don't know, how that works in this instance.
Well, if the hearing is in fact confidential or secret, unless you take anything out of that hearing, no one is going to be able to get to. She might try some Freedom of Information Act request to get it, but I suspect they've kept the lid on this. But once you step out into real court system, all the evidence that was used to prove up the case or for you to defend yourself, now it's subject to scrutiny. Okay? And so a lot of cases just stay out of the public light because, like I said, when people pull your pants down, you don't always like what they see. And you get out there and, like you said, when you're overseeing a social equity, and, we have banter amongst each other here about melanated, things like that. But no one's calling anybody the N-word or going after people because their color is yellow. I mean, it's mind-boggling that this O'Brien, who's probably a nice Italian lady, right, is out there saying words like this.
I think she's Irish.
Yeah, well, I know she is. It's sarcastic.
Okay.
But it's just hard to understand. If you're overseeing a social equity program and you have these kinds of views that come out of your mouth, you should never have been there in the first place.
Yeah.
Jason really thought he got one there. I think she's Irish.
No, I was just,
It is Boston.
She's in Boston. I guarantee you she's a Celtics fan and the Patriots and all of it.
Boston.
She doesn't drink at all.
And she don't drive through Roxbury, right? Yeah.
Oh, my God. She's probably a Southie. Anyhow, shout out to the Southie.
I mean, it is interesting to appeal a decision where basically you were accused of being a racist at work, and you're like, no, I should still keep my job though. Like that's kind of crazy to me. Like,
you think she's gonna bring?
Sometimes you kind of just take the L and walk away on that one.
Do you think her new evidence is her list of Black and Asian friends that she's going to present to us?
Oh my God! I hope so.
Hey, what about the rest of us multiculturals, Jenny?
Listen, I'm not going to go sign her letter of support.
You're not going to sign her letter of support? Well, I'll tell you.
They might have to go outside the state of Massachusetts to find.
I would love to assist with that receivership. It's fun. The receivership suck, but it's very interesting. There's some of the things that you can find. I've done some really interesting ones.
Well, I'll tell you what. We want to send a big thank you to the C Word with a big old super chat who says the art shows from both SF Weed Week and SF Hash Week have been picked up by Hall of Flowers in NorCal. For real, baby. Come say hi.
Big love.
Oh, yeah. Much love, you guys. Yeah, Hall of Flowers going down in just a couple weeks up in NorCal. That should be a good little event.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to whoever's dropping them Dropkick Murphys lyrics in the chat too.
Right?
Oh boy.
House of Pain. How about we get a little House of Pain in here?
I mean, we don't have the rights. We don't have the rights to that music, Rico. Can't play that. That's cute.
Jason, you could sing it.
I'm not singing.
Jason, I haven't heard you sing in a while.
Thank
Jason.
God.
Let's hear them pipes.
Don't worry,
Not
Christmas
bad.
is coming. Today he could sing "Baby It's Cold Outside," but
Yeah,
Blue
that's right.
pipes.
Yeah,
Blue
I can sing that today, baby. It's cold outside. Yeah. Yes. Speaking about
What does that mean? It's 65 degrees in LA. It's cold
it's
outside.
freaking
Dude, it's
cold,
cold
bro.
as
It's
fuck
cold
today,
AF
man.
today, bro. I mean, Sohum, you come out here, you'll see what we're talking about. It probably feels like Colorado to me out here today.
I woke up. Yeah, I woke up shivering, man. It's cold.
Yeah.
It was 100. It was 100 degrees on Monday, and it was 61 this morning when I got up.
Oh wow.
and I live in a little place called Heaven in Newport Beach where we haven't gone past 90 this whole heat wave.
I blame Joe Biden.
It's getting cool in Austin too. It just broke under 90 degrees this week.
Oh, I'm really glad you used this actual
we had
real
a
name.
75 degree. Oh, you know what? Just for that, Jason, I'm wearing this shirt just for you. What does this say right here?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't
You
read it.
started
I can't
reaching
read
down,
it.
and I'm like, where is he going? I wanted to turn away.
I can't see it.
Jason? ATX. That's
It says Yeti. It says Yeti, bro. Can't see that. Can't see. Your shirt says
Yeah.
Yeti. Your shirt says Yeti.
I left my
Yeah.
do rag flap down this morning. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's super cold.
Mhm. Well, we're gonna
It's
keep
a morning show. I don't know if we can show your belly button. So
Yeah, we're gonna keep this train rolling.
I don't want anybody seeing my belly button anyway. It's all right.
I guess.
We get a poll.
Oh,
We get a poll.
Hold
Who
on.
wants to see-
Sohum has an Audi apparently.
I drive a Mazda actually.
That's cute. That's cute.
No belly button ring.
Yeah.
Huh?
I like that. So
Nah, just the nipples. No belly button.
Whoa. Wait,
Why do men have nipples?
TMI. We're going to keep this train rolling. We're going to roll right into attorney Mr. Dale Schafer. He's the founder of Armada Law Practice, and at one point in time, did some time for a cannabis crime. He's here to show you how to defy gravity by not only reading backwards, but also pissing up a rope. That's right. It is none other than Mr. Dale Schafer.
It's an art.
Thank you, Jason. And good morning, everybody. And for those of you on the East Coast, early afternoon, watch that hurricane coming out of the Gulf. My story this morning comes out of MJ Biz, and it's written by Michael Braunstein. And the headline is Clarifying Congressional Intent for THC is a Necessary Step Towards Marijuana Reform. And my knee-jerk with that was, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Now, inside of this story, there are some, I invite you, please read it, but some of the highlights of this were back when the 2018 Farm Bill was being marketed before Congress, all these senators and congressmen were told this was about rope and not about dope. Couldn't have been more wrong. There is no intent to legalize products manipulated to get consumers high. Congress didn't intend that, and that's exactly what we've got right now. Congress didn't want to deal with marijuana through the Farm Bill. They don't want to have to fix the Schedule 1, the rescheduling, the legalization of this through the Farm Bill. They want somebody else to do this besides these agricultural committees in Congress. And because they use the term derivatives in the Farm Bill, it opened up this huge loophole and can of worms. And now there's a lot of people in the industry who argue that the derivative language justifies unregulated hemp intoxicants, which it doesn't, but they're arguing that because they're all over the damn place right now. Now, there's a 5-year review process for the Farm Bill, and it's back in the Ag Committee, but what's pointed out is this Ag Committee does not have the authority to fix this problem. There are multiple agencies involved, the DEA, the FDA, the USDA, and this committee doesn't have the authority to tell any of these agencies how to handle this. It's got to go back to Congress. And synthetic THC is and will remain Schedule 1. No matter what they do with rescheduling, the DOJ and the DEA is clear that these synthetic THCs are going to stay in Schedule 1. Now, what's happening here in California is something they talk about in this article, is that states need to step up and step into this, and the Congress and the federal government needs to allow them and give them authority to do this. The 10th Amendment gives the states the right to do this, to handle these synthetics and all these other derivatives coming out of the hemp world. And THC, natural or synthetic, needs a single regulatory system. Now, that I agree with, but I don't see that Congress has the stomach or the will to try to deal with this right now. And I know I've said on this show multiple times, this problem goes way, way back when hemp was called hemp before anybody knew how to objectively quantify hemp. And when Dr. Meshulam in 1963 identified THC, all of a sudden they wanted to use THC as the metric, excuse me, to try and legally identify hemp. And what I don't think they anticipated is what the organic chemists were able to do with these cannabinoids. Now, I have represented clients who were turning CBD into Delta-9. And I've talked with the biochemists who were doing this, and it was fascinating what they're able to do with synthesis and chemicals and these chambers that adjust the temperature and the pressure inside of them. And voila, you turn something that produced from the hemp plant into Delta-9. This is a synthetic Delta-9. But what I think is mind-boggling to me is Congress did not seem to bring in these biochemists who were able to manipulate cannabinoids and turn them into intoxicating products, and then identify that we want to control this. They used a term like derivatives, which now is being used to identify all these other plant products, and they are totally out of control. So I'm hopeful that if they do come back and readdress this, that they bring in the biochemists who are synthesizing this stuff, who are manipulating these cannabinoids to produce Delta-8 and THCO and all these other products that, in fact, are intoxicating, and come up with language that grabs all of these different products and brings them into a controlled, regulated market. Because if we don't do that, these loopholes, I mean, the job of attorneys is look for loopholes, and they found them here. And people are making a shit ton of money right now on these synthetic, intoxicating hemp products. And this could have been avoided. In hindsight's always 20/20, but it could have been avoided had people in Congress actually listened to scientists and come up with language that would prevent this from getting out in the unregulated market. I don't know that I'm hopeful enough that Congress will do this, especially since they're still kind of waiting for this rescheduling decision to be made. I don't think anybody wants to step into this, but irrespective of changing plant natural Delta-9 THC from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, it's not going to fix this synthetic derivative market that produces intoxicating products that are THC-like molecules. This is just, it's mind-boggling how, looking back, how stupid people were or how much they were lobbied to not pay attention to things that are obvious problems coming up. I'm going to throw this back at you guys. What do you think about this?
I cannot wait. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but I certainly can't wait to see these congressional hearings where they're bringing experts up and getting deep into the minutia of cannabis plant chemistry. But I'm not going to be holding my breath for that to happen, because I don't think it's happening anytime soon.
Nothing's going to change in the Farm Bill. Nothing is going to change. I'm not anticipating any change. Zero.
Wow, sums it up.
Well, California recently, as you know, drafted emergency regulations to try and deal with this.
Yeah.
We're going to age rate this. Mm-hmm. Everything's going to have to be regulated now. And I'm hoping that if Congress is not going to act, they're going to get out of the way of the states to try and wrap their arms around this. Because I don't think anybody intended for hemp to be turned into the new marijuana.
Congress is not going to do that, Dale. I mean, the Senate lead sponsor on the Farm Bill out of Oregon, he has already stated that he is not for any degression of the Farm Bill.
Well, that's good that he said it, but there's more than one person who gets to weigh in on that, Jason.
I understand.
I mean,
but
I
he's
think
a lead sponsor. His word carries a lot more weight than a lot of others.
And that's wonderful. How many lead sponsors have we seen?
You have to get a House version and a Senate version. So that means that there isn't going to be anything flying out of the Senate version.
Very good, Jason. Very good, Jason. But he's not the end all be all, unfortunately. And I know that you love the Farm Bill. I know.
Didn't say he was.
Oh God, you just keep talking.
I mean, so you keep talking.
I'm just gonna let you. I'm gonna let you talk to yourself.
Okay, sounds good. Love talking to myself. Amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, short of something, some incident happening where somebody gets in a car crash and they try to blame it on, synthetic Delta 10 or Delta 8, or a mass shooter has some Delta 8 product in his like where they try to pin it on that. Short of that happening, I don't see any impetus for Congress to pass emergency legislation to deal with this quickly. Like they're just not going to do it.
I mean, they just blame it on weed because they just classify it all as weed. We have seen them try to do those.
That's what I'm saying. Unless they find an actual Delta 10 product somewhere, like I don't know, they go to this kid in Tennessee's house and they find it.
They're not going to do that because that's going to go over way too many people's heads. They're just going to call it a weed product so they can just smear weed.
Unless they're specifically going to use it to target these other hemp-derived cannabinoids that you could buy in a Texas smoke shop or a Georgia smoke shop, that didn't come from a dispensary.
I don't see that.
I don't know if that's going to happen. But I'm saying, short of an event that gets people and gets the public outraged about these products, there's no way it's going to happen anytime soon.
Fair enough. And on that, we're going to go to a commercial.
States are going to continue to push this forward, which I think is the only avenue available to us. Continue the pressure, wrap our arms around this. Listen, it's not that difficult to identify what is cannabis sativa, which we call marijuana. It's not that difficult to identify it. It's all these other products that leak out that have to be dealt with. And the states are going to take action until Congress decides it's time to do something. And of course, we've been waiting for this for decades. Mm-hmm. And I'm not holding my breath that they're going to actually get somewhere. And I'm hopeful that some presidential candidate might, make this an agenda item to fix this, although I'm not holding my breath about that either.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. And on that, we're going to go to a commercial. We're going to be right back.
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Did you get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
You're doing, make sure that you hit that like button. I know we'll appreciate it, you'll appreciate it, and YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you've not subscribed already, and all of the articles that we cover on today's show you can read directly on our website at www.highat9news.com.
The Network Show is coming back to LA September 18th and 19th. Make sure to get your tickets now for the only B2B licensed flower trade show in LA. With its previous shows selling out, you'll want to act fast so you don't miss out on over 150 of the best brands and distributors throughout California. The Network Show captures and ensures an intimate, focused environment for California's most influential brands and retailers to join forces in the true spirit of the legacy operator. So head over to www.networkshow.co/ticketing to reserve your spot and start cultivating connections at this year's Network Show.
we're back. Rico.
Oh, yeah, we are back. And up next is the conservative pro-cannabis voice, unafraid to call fellow Republicans out on this show when called for, of course. And y'all know who it is, the melanated and very opinionated founder of Justice Serve 501c3 and the bright mind behind Kind Cannabis Consultant, Beth Dills.
Forgot it, Rico. Woo. Good morning, everybody. Well, look, Berner done did it again. The University of Southern California has announced a new partnership with cannabis brand Cookies in what is thought to be the first tie-up of a college sports team and CBD brand in the United States. U.S. cannabis giant Cookies, which now operates in over 70 retail locations in more than 20 markets in 6 countries today, announced that it has partnered with USC Athletics to sponsor its team, specifically involving Cookies CBD products, not its adult-use cannabis line. The partnership will see its branding integrated across a range of USC events. These will include USC football, men's and women's basketball across athletics, digital channels, and on-site tailgate experiences at select events throughout the year. Berner, co-founder and CEO of Cookies, said, "California is our home state, and for Cookies to be involved with a premier athletic program in the oldest private college in the state is incredibly exciting for us." Drew DeHart, vice president and general manager of the USC sports properties, added, "With the decision to open this category, it was our goal to find the right partner for USC Athletics, and we did just that with Cookies. Cookies is the global leader in CBD, but it's also an innovative brand deep in lifestyle, culture, and wellness," said Drew DeHart, vice president of the USC Sports Properties, a branch of Playfly Sports. "We're excited for the Trojans to be a leader in collegiate athletics on and off the field, and today's announcement continues to showcase just that. The expansion into mainstream sports comes as Cookies also looks towards Europe for expansion. Last month, Cookies announced that it was expanding its partnership with Israeli cannabis market leader Intracure. This will license Intracure to cultivate, manufacture, import, and distribute Cookies branded products produced from its cultivation and manufacturing facilities in 8 licensed branded pharmacies across Germany through Cookies Corners. This agreement marks an expansion of Intracure and Cookies partnership footprint in Europe, now covering the UK, Austria, and Germany, alongside strategic collaborations in Israel." So, I mean, I think that this is interesting. I think that, I don't have a ton of thoughts on this. You know, you guys, I'm kind of on the fence about Cookies in a lot of ways. Some of those 70 retail locations are owned by social equity applicants that have gotten absolutely raped during the process. So, cool. I understand there's a lot of different entities, but I do think that this is a good step forward for Cookies, and congratulations to them on being able to put their brand into a more mainstream focus. So shout out to Cookies and USC.
I love it. I know
you would.
As a former stoner athlete, I absolutely love this. I mean, looking behind the surface jubilation that is on me right now, I know it's like y'all ain't gonna control the shit. Y'all ain't gonna stop it. Y'all might as well take this money while y'all can, because guaranteed y'all boys on the team are bringing in Cookies products into the locker room, and y'all smelling that aroma every day. So good on them for getting that money. They've and getting a cut of this, because if they hadn't already, I guarantee Cookies is already sponsoring some of their athletes. Get your money, young black man.
So two things on this. The reason this is possible, Rico, is definitely because of that NCAA decision, right? That they recently had a couple months ago, right?
And I have to say, I have to give a big up. Where's my hats over here? I gotta give a big up to,
you're switching hats. Look at that.
My little. I'm not gonna switch hats. You know what I'm saying? Like, purple all day, baby.
It's just like
purple all day. I gotta get it.
It's just like flip flop.
No, purple all day, baby. I stay in the same lane, right in the middle. Let y'all duke it out. But I gotta give props to my younger brothers, my little brothers on Northwestern team that started those initial chips in the glass ceiling to get these fools paid when we attempted to unionize about 10 years ago. Kane Coulter, and unfortunately, he's dealt with a lot of legal issues stemming from CTE, and ended up going to prison. And a lot of these young fellas, man, they get put in a bad place financially, and they can't get paid. So big ups to them getting paid. And if the university is going to do it, they're going to do it regardless. They're going to get their money. And just happy the weed is in the equation now, and it makes me a little bit of a USC fan, just a little bit.
I mean,
I feel like I should have. I feel like I should have read the story in my college cheerleading uniform, Rico.
You should have.
But
I'm happy about this shit, man. Like,
no. I mean, yeah. Look, I went to Arizona. So I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, University of Spoiled Children is, whatever. It is what it is. But
It's University of South Central, bro. What are you talking about?
Shots fired.
Nah. That's University of
South
Spoiled
Central,
Children, bro.
Stop the cap.
Bear down. But anyways, I mean, beyond the surface level of USC and Cookies as the entities and brands that they are, I mean, I think this is huge for just opening the door into further partnerships between Hemp and CBD and eventually other brands. Like that's really what this is right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad you gave Kane Coulter that shout out. He actually he's a product of my high school.
So is he really, man?
Yes, sir.
Before the NFL and the NBA do this. I mean, what I see coming is now that they've commercialized college football, which it has many people saying it's good and bad, but these young men are their images are being protected. They're being paid for it. But college football now has people moving from school to school for better endorsements. They're getting paid. Now we've opened the door for CBD under Cookies, and people are going, yeah, we know Cookies brand. It's going to get it out there in the marketplace with a lot more notoriety. And how long before the NBA teams or the NFL teams, where they have legal states, are going to go into these same kind of partnerships? And we're marching forward. It's just unfortunate that I may not be alive before all this shit actually gets fixed, but it's good to see it continue to move forward, because these athletes, they put their life on the line out there every time they play football.
Right.
You got to hang on, Dale. I mean,
yeah.
My compliance wet blanket brain also is thinking with these emergency regulations regarding hemp-derived cannabinoid products that Governor Newsom has just thrown out conveniently in the same state that USC resides in. A lot of college kids, you're not 21 until like your third year of college typically, right? So if we're putting an age gate on this now for hemp-derived cannabinoids that starts at 21, how does this affect regulations for advertising to children who are underage?
You know what, Jenny?
How does this...
You are so right.
How do you
that.
look at a football field and put something that is a cannabis brand on a football field and say safely that the appropriate percentage of people seeing that branding are of age?
Well, hold on. Let's go into another point, because you called them, if I remember correctly, if I heard you right, you called them college kids, right? So technically, Cookies, by doing this deal, is advertising to kids.
Oh, no, we ain't going there.
Well, we're talking about the same brand. We're also talking about the same brand that put out a line of children's clothing.
In Zoomies.
So,
Just saying.
In Zoomies. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, I hope that this works out well. I think that it's exciting to see people be more open to cannabis and be more open to CBD products. We know that there's a neuroprotectant property in cannabinoids, and that's amazing, especially for these young men and women who are out there just absolutely giving it their all and destroying their bodies for the love of the game and also money and scholarship opportunities. But I do also think that we need to be careful and realize that this could possibly be a non-starter. And also it's important on who you go into business with. If you look at someone's track record and you're like, burn them, lawsuit.
Did you say,
large statement about how it's not your fault. I don't know if this is maybe the best partnership, but we will see. And congrats to Gilbert.
Did you say like non-starter as in like a bench warmer, Jenny Beth?
I mean, however you want it, bud.
Okay, just wondering. We're gonna go to a commercial and we're gonna be right back.
Oh man, that was weird. Hey, you America. Do I look like Sean Connery? Good morning, America. Saman Razani coming to you live from sunny Los Angeles, California, with the one and only highest host, Mr. Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast? You can find it on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. No excuses in 2024. If you haven't checked us out, check it out now. And also, check out what the Prophet's doing in 2024.
And we are back.
You know what they say? Oh, yeah, he next. It's the man straight out of the ATX. Jason?
That's right.
There's no such thing as the ATX. It's called Austin.
Hey,
there sure is. There sure is.
People
You got over a decade of
that
regulated
call it
cannabis
ATX can't
technology.
spell.
Over a decade of cannabis technology and data experience, and always stays on his grind, just like the product that he is pushing now with these athletes. Maybe he can get an NIL deal going with these with over there at Arizona. I don't know. I don't want to
Boulder,
talk
maybe
about
one of the
can't
two.
talk about, if it ain't public information yet. There's Mr. Don't call him Sohum. Y'all know his name, Sohum. Sohum.
Thank you, Rico. That's right, repping the ATX from our man Jason this morning. But
People that can't spell call it ATX.
He's getting so mad.
I'm gonna get into the article, but I want to hear your logic about why that means somebody can't spell.
That's why they call it ATX, because they can't read Austin.
I think it's just
Austin,
an abbreviation.
TX is Texas, Jason. I just wanted to break that down for you really quickly so you could digest it while Sohum reads his article.
It's not.
Take that and think about it for a moment. Mm-hmm. But today we're gonna get back to some 2024 cannabis legalization initiatives. Some of the notable longtime MJ nonprofits are absent from these legalization initiatives. Regulated marijuana is a reality in more than half the country, and federal cannabis reform efforts have advanced further than ever in D.C., thanks in large part to ballot initiative campaigns largely funded, organized, and run by nonprofit advocacy groups. But this year, familiar outfits such as the Drug Policy Alliance, DPA, the Marijuana Policy Project, MPP, and New Approach are conspicuously absent from the adult use marijuana legalization campaigns in Florida and North Dakota, according to public records and reporting by MJ Biz Daily. In their place are marijuana industry-funded campaigns that, according to some critics, benefit state-regulated operators at the expense of free access goals long held by cannabis legalization advocates. The situation on display in Florida and North Dakota are the latest examples of a long-term developments that's seeing the responsibility for marijuana reform shift to the cannabis companies that would benefit most directly from legalization and away from philanthropic donors, many of whom have moved on to other interests such as psychedelics. It's also a consequence of the fundraising woes many longtime legalization organizations are suffering. In a twist, marijuana advocates' successful legalization campaigns are partly to blame for tightening purse strings. Continued wins have diminished the sense of urgency cannabis champions felt a decade ago, even as the plant remains federally prohibited in populous states such as Texas and, of course, under federal law. Longtime advocacy group MPP was chiefly responsible for Colorado's Amendment 64 campaign in 2012. The nonprofit group contributed staff time worth more than $70,000 to North Dakota's failed adult use legalization campaign in 2022, as well as $175,000 in funding the successful 2023 recreational effort in Ohio. New Approach Advocacy Fund was the single largest donor to the 2022 North Dakota effort, contributing nearly $340,000, more than half of the roughly $616,000 total. Neither MPP nor New Approach has contributed to the 2024 efforts in Florida or North Dakota. That's partially because, at least in MPP's case, the organization has less money to offer than it's had in recent years, said Brian Vicente, the Denver-based founding partner of Vicente Law Firm and MPP's current board chair. MPP recently ended its lobbying efforts in D.C., as public disclosures show. The group is also on the lookout for a new full-time executive director after talks of a possible merger with Normal ended this spring. The most recent nonprofit disclosure forms from 2022 show MPP operating in the red. The outlook has since improved, according to Vicente, but not to an extent that the donor-funded group can compete with marijuana multi-state operators for dollars. If you look at Florida, where the current campaign has raised nearly $83 million, that's not something a philanthropist or a nonprofit could cover, Vicente said. The torch has been passed, but nonprofits are still relevant, he added. The relevance includes campaign experience as well as credibility with voters. Resources the two major legalization efforts at play this year are leaving untapped, at least so far. So you can go through and read more specifics about money and efforts being contributed to North Dakota's Measure 5 and Florida's Amendment 3. And shout out to MJ Biz Daily for this reporting. It's Chris Roberts originally broke the story. I think this is interesting. I don't think for people that have been around this advocacy space for a while, and particularly for me and Jenny as well, because she was in Colorado, like we know, like Vicente, MPP, we know these names very well because we've been around them for a long time. And as far as MPP specifically, when Rob Campia stepped down and there was a leadership change and they just started going through a lot of changes, I think a lot of people knew that their reputation and their ability to raise capital was largely tied to him specifically. So there were questions about how well that group would continue to be able to operate after he stepped down. So I mean, I don't see this as that surprising. We've seen a compression of the supply chain for cannabis businesses who are the members of these organizations. So when they have less money to play with, they have less money to donate to these advocacy groups who then can't push as much legalization efforts in new states. So it's kind of a cycle. And now we have the industry, just as other industries do, taking on the onus of drafting and funding and staffing these campaigns. But yeah, this is Sohum with High at 9 News. Let's kick it back to the team and hear what everyone else has to say on this. What do you guys think? No more MPP-backed initiatives?
Guess who threw her hat in the ring for the new director position at MPP?
Who, you?
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm very, very familiar with it. And, I think we'll see. We'll see if I hear back. I think that MPP's done a lot of good work in the past. I think I haven't always agreed with the exact direction of their initiatives. And I know that, unfortunately, they are operating in the red, and that does suck. But I think that there's still a way to get behind, even if it's just in, making statements and putting your name behind it. If you can't fund it, you can still use your pull to support it in ways, use lobbying efforts, people that you already have paid to be there. So we'll see, and we'll see if I get a call back.
This is the
Hope
thing.
you do.
This is the thing. The MPP's main focus was trying to get state ballot initiatives on different ballots, and there's not a whole bunch of states left to have initiatives on.
There are plenty.
So they have to. No, there's
there
not.
are plenty.
There's not.
Until we're
there's
done, until we're done, Jason.
There's not a lot.
Until we're done, Jason.
There's not a lot. There's not a lot.
There's plenty of work to be done, Jason. In the words of your least favorite.
There's 7 states left that can.
In the words of your
voter initiative.
We just had ballot initiatives in Hawaii this year. We just saw their Congress members pushing for legalization and pushing for adult use in Hawaii. That's still not done. Jason, there's still plenty of work to be done. Just because it started or there's been a failed initiative, that doesn't mean that it's time to dust our hands off and say, fuck those 7 states. There are children, there are families, there are people in those states. I don't care how many are left that still need access. That still need access. You're saying there's not a lot of work left to be done, but that work is still important work.
There's not.
But it's still important work.
I didn't say it wasn't important. You're throwing words into that I'm not saying into the whole equation. There
are not many ballot initiatives left, so should we not focus on those?
I'm just saying.
Yes or no question. Yes or no question.
They don't need to raise as much money if there's only 7 states to work with. Is my point. Before
the real debate was on today, not last night, y'all.
Before there was 45 to work with in the begetting.
Hey,
so monetarily, that doesn't.
45's in the past. We're moving forward. Speaking of, here's what it is, man. Like a lot of these organizations, and especially like the nonprofits, they should have had their due earlier, and Congress jerked them around, and there's not a lot of money to support them like there was in the past. You know what I'm saying? Like all these cannabis businesses. Yeah, all these cannabis businesses, they're suffering too. So how are you going to put up money like you used to? 215 money ain't here no more.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And you see who's funding Amendment 3, right? It's the big MSOs, because they're the ones that are profitable from operating in limited license states. And limited license legislation is not what MPP ever pushed. They always wanted to protect home grow. They wanted to have a free licensing structure. I'm not saying that every bill that they've supported has been the perfect structure, but those were core principles of the legislation that they pushed. And now that you see that they're less involved, you see how it ends up, how these laws that are being crafted and backed by MSOs are, and they're meant to benefit one group of people, and that's large, well-capitalized organizations.
Right. Like my only hope, like, unfortunately, because I'm against like big corporations and shit, is that some of these larger, mainstream organizations, they snap them up and do put some money behind them. Say what you will, like I kept things neutral. I kept things positive during my story earlier. But the reason why we're still talking about Last Prisoner Project is because the people behind it, I will not name no names because I don't want to give them the people behind it put a bunch of money out and got recognition for that. You know, I know like lots and lots and lots of people were doing what they do long before. Lots of people's ideas were the same ideas before they did, but they had the money to do it. And now they got people backing them on a bigger stage. So hopefully they get the funding. Good luck on your run to take over, Jenny Beth. And I don't know what we could do other than not pay taxes.
I mean, 100%, but like part of paying taxes is, right, you could either be taxed for it as individuals, right? You can either be taxed for it, or you can do these things called tax deductible donations, right? And that's going to be going to 501c3s, 501c4s, stuff like that. And that's how you, when I say vote with your dollars, that's how you vote with your dollars. You find these initiatives, you find these groups that are, wow, you're really bad at it today.
I thought it was.
Can we do that thing like they did last night where they mute Jason's mic until it's his turn to respond?
Not happening.
Millie, can we get that in studio?
Zero.
No, I mean, that's when I say voting with your dollars, that's what I mean. It's, you know, you can put your money behind these groups and these initiatives that you believe in, and you write those things off on your tax returns, which lowers your tax liability, because the government will either take it from you and spend it as they see fit, or you can spend as much of it as you want to in ways that you see fit. So if you care about people having access, if you care about these initiatives, then maybe look at how you can support some of these groups.
Well, as far as voting with dollars, there's not a lot of votes out there for people to cast, because there's not a lot of money in this economy.
There are plenty of people with money.
Just saying.
Well, there are plenty of people with money. I'm gonna roll into my next story. I actually have a nice story for you guys to end on today. I think you're gonna enjoy this. I'm gonna go get the belt. Pepper said I should.
I don't care about none of that shit. Okay. But I do want to thank Ingrid who watches every day. She sent me over this article. It's pretty cool. I think you guys will like it, especially you, Sohum, because a Lower Sioux Indian community opens new plant to construct homes with hempcrete. The Lower Sioux Indian community has opened a new facility to turn hemp into a home installation material known as hempcrete. The tribe hopes to build the industry with the help of a wider group of farmers and address a housing shortage for its citizens. Hempcrete is made from the woody core of hemp called hurd, lime, and water. It's material that former tribal council member Earl Pendleton had researched for several years to provide safer and healthier homes to members of the tribal community. He says hempcrete does not use carbon-based products that contribute to the problem of greenhouse gases, and the material also avoids toxic substances that may be found in manufactured building materials. In a quote, "From seed to sobriety," Pendleton said. He says the tribe has grown hemp since 2021 for the purpose of building homes, but lacked the ability to process it into building materials. Pendleton says community housing needs prop the idea, but the prospect of economic growth and outside partnerships also played a part in this decision. The tribe invited local farmers to learn about growing hemp with demonstrations and presentations at the opening of the industrial hemp campus in Morton, Minnesota on Thursday. Danny Zazarias, a tribal member and manager of the hemp construction project, said the facility can process up to 2,500 acres of hemp, but the tribe only has 500 tillable acres of its own. In a quote, "We don't have enough acreage here in the community to be able to fulfill the need that we need to build these houses," Dejaria said. The processing facility will require more hemp beyond what is grown by the Lower Sioux community to operate it year-round. In a quote, "We'll always be needing the local farmers in the area to produce the hemp," Pendleton added. The tribe has already built 3 homes utilizing hempcrete using outsourced hemp. With the opening of the facility and partnership on the horizon, Dejaria says they will be able to produce more housing in the spring and summer months. In addition to local farmers, the prospect of building relationships across the industry brought visitors from out of state, including North Dakota and Washington, among the more than 100 attendees. John Peterson of Dakota Hemp, which grows and sells products made from the crop, and the treasurer for the South Dakota Industrial Hemp Association, said Midwestern farmers are beginning to see the market potential. In a quote says, "Just getting exposure and introducing people to this is what really is going to turn the tide for us in this industry," Peterson said.
Well, I think this is fantastic that this tribe is doing this and they're going all the way out on this and really investing this in their communities. I think this is fantastic news, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
I mean, this is
I
dope.
love to see
I'm
it.
curious though. Wait, Jason, why do you think that I would like this? Because it's an Indian tribe?
No, bro, why are you being
Wrong
you're
answer, wrong
race baiting right now?
Wow.
Jeez,
I genuinely
Louise.
thought that's what you meant.
Jeez Louise, bro.
Well, why did you think Sohum would like it?
Because I know
Yeah, I'm curious.
Sohum is into this kind of stuff.
I mean, you're not wrong. I'm actually very excited. I've been
believe you
waiting
guys
years
just
to see.
Said that about me.
I mean, it is something you would say. Come on, bro. Come on.
Jeez Louise.
Don't gaslight us. You would
Just
totally say
saying,
some
I'm
shit
just
like
saying,
that,
bro. So,
But no, I mean, you're right.
I
I genuinely do like stories like this. I've been waiting a very long time to see people see hempcrete and other industrial uses of hemp on a commercial and industrial scale. It was something that I actually predicted probably when I was in college that there would be a pretty large gap between the time you start to see a lot of hemp cultivation and then people actually building out the infrastructure that they need for processing and manufacturing to make use of hemp fibers to make all these different types of products. So I hope this turns out to be a lucrative and effective business for the Lower Sioux, and we see more people adopt it.
This is huge.
We
This
love
is,
you, Jason.
Yeah, this is huge. This is great news. And I would like to say that pre-COVID, when I started my hemp clothing company, we were looking at different models and stuff. And I guess we're one of the first full hempcrete communities was, Jason, in America.
Where, Rico?
ATX.
ATX.
That's right.
I didn't realize you can't read.
Wow, Jason.
Can't spell, can't read. ATX.
Well, the problem they still have is that this is not a structural building material; it's insulation, and it's still very high price. Now, it's a step forward to make the price less so that it gets more incorporated into these buildings, because it is more carbon neutral than the other things they're doing. But they've got to get this into the building codes, and when I hear that, and then the infrastructure's there, I think this industry will then really take off.
Yeah. And I've talked to an architect, actually, an architect buddy of mine that I went to college with, who is also born and raised in the ATX and still lives and works out here, specifically about hempcrete. He was working with a company that was doing some of that, and that was the biggest concern, is that it's not useful as a structural product. Like, you can incorporate it a lot, but it's never going to fully replace all your other building materials, at least not with the technology and knowledge that we have right now.
Well, at the same time,
think of it as a condom for. Think of it as like a condom for fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can put it out there and it's flame retardant. I don't know if we're allowed to say that.
Yeah, you're allowed to say that.
That's the word.
I was totally going to say it, Rico, so don't worry, you're fine.
I'm a lot less PC than a lot of y'all out there think. Jason knows.
I was going to say flame retardant either. I'm totally fine with it. I got no problem with it.
But
Well, it's what it's called. It's what it's called. I mean, it's important work. I think it's really awesome. Like, back when I was still in Colorado, we were doing Hemp History Week, which is a really cool thing that Dr. Bronner sponsors every year. And it's a nationwide initiative to bring education, and they would do hempcrete classes and things like that. Also in South America, where they have, large earthquakes and they have issues like that, and they have a housing crisis, they're using hempcrete and trying to bring that in. There's actually a bill where we're sending what was supposed to stop our border crossings. We're sending money for agricultural jobs in South America, right? And a lot of those are hemp agriculture jobs, and they're looking for it, especially in Venezuela and countries like that. They're trying to, El Salvador is a big one. They're trying to create these fiber hemp products. And so I think that this is a big deal. And I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see the work continue. And it's definitely, if you can handle deforestation, you can put more oxygen into the air while you're growing this product that you can then turn into homes for lower income individuals or, third world countries. I think this is amazing work, and I'm excited to see it continued.
Ain't it crazy? When you step out outside of the mainstream capitalist bullshit bureaucratic system that is America, and you step into a sovereign nation, they can actually get shit done. Crazy idea.
Yeah, and I mean, on that note too, Rico, I think it's super awesome to see that a native tribe, a group that has been historically treated very badly in this country is on the forefront of this, and like I said, I hope it turns out really well for them.
You know how we got to end this one, Rico, today with a Sue Woo,
brother.
That's not how we're ending it. We're ending it with. I just wanted to. I created a little visual aid to help Jason understand how it became the ATX. I thought if you could see it, you're a visual learner, Jason, and I understand that. That's why I wanted to.
I totally understand that. I totally understand that. And I'm just saying that it's stupid, and everyone, especially you being from Georgia, anyone from Atlanta should be totally just pissed off that Austin is trying to steal their thunder.
They're not the ATX.
There's a difference. There's a difference between an X and an L. Those are different letters. Just so like ATX and ATL are very different.
I understand that they're different letters, but you're stealing your swag from Atlanta.
No, you can't steal Atlanta's swag.
Because
we're Black Hollywood. We have the strip clubs, and they have
the swag from Atlanta and trying to reappropriate it in Texas.
No, because if Atlanta was using the same method, it would be AGA. It would not be ATL.
It's a reappropriation of swag, bro. I can't believe you guys are doing it. Create your own swag.
Oh, Sacramento was SML. So what does that mean? Sacramento for motherfuckers? I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. It is Sacramento for motherfuckers. It means sucker motherfuckers. Yeah, sucker motherfuckers. Yeah. You ready, Rico?
ATX.
Let's do it. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Thank you all for joining us for yet another episode of High at 9 News. You can always catch us live weekdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, high noon on... I'm choking. I was choking
easy
right
there.
Man.
Whoa.
Oh, my gosh.
ATX. Okay.
Yeah, high noon on the East Coast. And lost my place here. Big shout out to the super fans showing love, getting their comments posted live on the screen, on the big screen. We had was it the C word today, Jason?
Yeah, we had the C word, and we also had where did it go? Why do you do that? Why do you
spit it out, son?
It's not showing me right now. I'm not.
He's concentrating. Look at his face.
He's got acronyms in his mouth.
He's still pondering ATX. He can't find it.
You don't get it.
It's so weird. It's not.
I just thought if he could see it.
It's not showing up on my feed.
C spot run 4 sentences.
I know there was two big ones. And so thank you guys. I definitely appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Yeah, we gotta show love.
Some Wagyu, 100%.
Yeah. Anna, can you please get some Wagyu beef, roast beef sandwiches on the menu so we can come enjoy that and enjoy our earnings from the show?
Mm-hmm.
Big shout out to everybody else, to our live audience members tuning in each day to the Headlines of Chaos, also known as the Developing Cannabis Industry. Our vetted correspondent team tuning in from all over, bringing much needed variety of perspective and your respective opinions to the table, even when they are from ATX. Our production team, Cloud Media Partners.
Jesus Christ.
Bringing the heat. Behind the scenes, Adam staying feathered.
No, it's Millie in the building today, bro. Come on.
I was gonna say Millie too. So
okay.
Fuck Adam. Until you come back, it's all love, brother. You know that. And Millie holding things down behind the scenes. Millie. Sorry about Lil Wayne not getting the Super Bowl. As always, Cannabis Sativa L, the reason the High 9 News team reads these headlines every single day. Thank you too, baby girl. It is Wednesday, Hemp Day, 9/11. 2024. You've all been blessed with the top industry headlines, and I hope it was enough for you to put in your pipe and smoke at least until tomorrow. Put one in the air for those who we lost on 9/11 back in 2001. It was a very somber day for our nation, and a very, very sad day for the people who lost folks, who lost their homes, and also for the people who lost their lives in the backlash afterwards when we fought the wrong people. So make sure you guys ask questions. That's my big shout out to everybody. Make sure you guys ask questions. Don't believe anything you say, even if it comes from our mouths too.
You should believe everything I tell you.
You should definitely not do that.
No.
Do your own research. Use us for entertainment, just like you use everybody else. They're not that much different. And do your own research. I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High at 9 News. And I like to pop this one out to Jenny Beth Dills. How about that, Jenny Beth?
All right, you guys. We all watched the debate last night. Maybe you didn't, but
they did.
Today is a day that is bigger than this election. Jason, stop it. Today is a day that is bigger than this election. So please remember, like, if you want to go watch something, watch the story of the man with the red bandana, watch the story of some true American heroes. And if Kamala and Trump and Biden could all shake hands and be reverent and be respectful of the people who lost their lives, you guys can do it too, and stop fighting for the day.
Right on.